I tend to talk a little bit loud. Can everyone hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay. If I'm too loud, let me know. First of all, welcome to everyone. My name is Gina Stassi Vanacore, and I am the Community Outreach for Pioneer Community Energy. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us tonight. And I'd also like to thank the city for hosting us. My colleagues are Steve Lend, who's running the technology, and Don Eckert, who is the Executive Director of Pioneer Community Energy. So we're excited to be here and to tell you who we are and what we're doing, and to answer any other questions you might have. Can we start the slideshow, please? So the first question is, who are we, or what are we? We are a community choice aggregator. Community means that we are locally owned and operated. Choice means that we are an alternative to PG&E. And so that you know, this is the first time this region has had a choice for an electricity provider in about 100 years. And we are an aggregator, which means we are part of a broad group of people who can buy or purchase electricity on behalf of the local residents. And community choice aggregators got their start back in the early 2000s. We were born out of the energy crisis that maybe some of you remember. And the spirit really was to bring some competition into the electricity market. So the first CCA launched in 2010 down in Marin. So we're not entirely new. There have been some challenges along the way, but 13 years later, there are now 25 CCA programs serving over 200 communities throughout the state. Next slide. So this Pioneer started in 2018. So we've been around for 5 years. We're just getting ready for our 5-year anniversary. And again, being locally owned and operated, our customers, meaning you, are at the center of everything we do. And while I won't go around all of those bubbles, this slide really is intended to tell you what to expect from Pioneer. And so the things that you can expect from us are competitive rates. We are powered by the communities that we serve, so you get to have a voice in the way things operate. And there are flexible options. For example, the bubble that represents Energy Future, we do have an exclusive 100% renewable energy product that you can have access to should you decide to. And then last of all, we bring you a choice. We are not replacing PG&E. We operate as an alternative to and in addition to, so you're not losing anything by joining Pioneer. I know that everyone has a lot of technical questions, and so I'm going to turn the mic over to Don Eckert at this time because I think he can answer those detailed questions much better than I can.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Good evening. So I want to also recognize Council Member Gary Peterson, who is also our board member. So thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. We also, did we bring any swag?
It's on the table.
It's on the table? Okay. So if you get stress relief lightning bolts, the one time you can touch electricity, or a flashlight, please take something on your way out. Anyway, so let's get to the next slide, please. So what's going to change on January 1st? So where you are right now on the left is how an investor-owned utility works. That's PG&E for you. And they purchase the power. They maintain the transmission lines, the distribution. They provide the customer service, and they do the billing. So that's what I would call a vertically integrated utility. What's going to change on January 1st will be Pioneer is now purchasing the power. PG&E continues to maintain the transmission and the distribution lines. That's also where they make their money. PG&E will provide customer service, and Pioneer will provide customer service. So if you have an outage at your house, you can call PG&E still. They will come out there and fix it. It does not matter whether you're a Pioneer customer or not. They are obligated to do that. And we'll get into that in a moment as well. But they will continue to serve you, and we will also serve you with your questions. And then on the billing, and we'll show the billing in a moment, through this California Public Utilities Commission, when this went from a concept to a bill, from a bill into an actual business in 2010 with the first CCA launched, part of that was the billing would be through the PG&E bill. And so how it works is you're going to see a line item on your bill with Pioneer Community Energy on the PG&E bill. You pay PG&E, and then they send us what's owed to Pioneer. But it's going to be one bill for all. And that's probably the most common question we get is understanding the bill. And there'll be times we'll spend more time on that at another session. But that's probably the most common question we get. Next slide, please. So just a map of where we can and where we cannot serve. So where we are right now is in Placer County, in El Dorado County. We do not compete with, let's say, Roseville Electric, SMUD, or Truckee. They have their own publicly owned utilities. So in the spirit of the legislation back in 2002, it was to provide competition to the investor-owned utilities, being San Diego Gas Electric, SoCal Edison, and PG&E. It wasn't to compete with publicly owned utilities. So we do not compete with publicly owned utilities. Now, Liberty Utilities is an investor-owned utility, but right now we do not go into that territory yet. And reason being is that for the last 13 years, there's been much work between the California Public Utilities Commission, Sacramento, and our trade organization, CalCCA, on working out all the issues to make this happen. And there's issues that come up every year. But Liberty Utilities has been kept out of that conversation. So we look forward to hopefully down the road that we can enter Liberty Utilities territory, but right now we're focused on just PG&E territory. Next slide, please. And the enrollment process. So we're going to have plenty of information starting today with the rollout, and it seems like it was about a year ago that we were first talking with the city manager about this, and then we talked to the council. So I'm really excited that we're about 6 months away from launch, but we want to get out there early and often. So this is kind of the start of our outreach campaign to Nevada City, and there'll be much communications between now and the end of the year. But there's going to be official notices that you're going to get in the mail, and these notices are CPUC regulated notices that are going to be very difficult to read. But those notices are going to go out 60 days before launch. And then there'll be another notice that goes out 30 days. Then we launch on January 24. And then there'll be another 2 notices that go out in February and March that'll be in your mail. What's the significance of the notices? Well, you can opt out at any time. You can opt out a year from now, anytime, no charge. The significance of the notices is that if you want to opt up to Green 100 or you want to opt out, you need to wait for that process to start on November 1st when those mailers go out. And then the significance of March 24 is that if you decide you want to opt out in November 23, you can always come back in before March. But if you decide to opt out after March, you can't rejoin Pioneer for another year. So those notices will be going out, and we'll give plenty of information on that before that happens. So next slide, please. So we talked a little bit about the billing. And the PG&E bills are already confusing, but this is just a high-level snapshot of the first page of the bill. And so I talked about before, it's going to be one bill, so you're not going to get a separate bill in the mail from Pioneer. And basically, it would be a line item there showing the Pioneer charges, which is the generation part of the bill. And then you're still going to have delivery charges, transmission charges through PG&E, and that would be the same no matter if you're with Pioneer or not. And so it's going to be a line item on the bill, not a separate bill. Next slide, please. So just talk a little bit about rate choices. So right now our standard product is We follow a little bit higher than the state minimum. So every year, the state requires all load-serving entities to move up to eventually 60% renewable by 2030, and they're shooting for 100% grid by 2045. So every year, we move up toward that 60% mark, and that's our standard product. This provides us the most savings to our customers. And to date, I think Gina mentioned it, but we're at, since we launched in 2018, $84 million in savings. That hasn't gone to PG&E's headquarters. It stayed in the communities we serve. So that provides us the best rates for us, is following a little bit above that minimum. But for those that want to be 100% renewable, we also have the Green 100 product. And so when I look at this, whether you choose the standard or you want to opt up to Green 100, both are less expensive than PG&E, and even our default product is more renewable than PG&E. So why wouldn't this work, right? Next slide, please. Another probably common questions that we'll get is on the solar side of it. So we currently have close to 35,000 solar accounts right now in Placer and El Dorado County. So whatever questions you have on your solar, we've heard them, and we'll get you the answer. But if you are a net generator, we pay a half-cent premium over PG&E for your power. If you're a net consumer, then you're going to enjoy the same savings discount as non-solar customers. So it's a win-win either way. There's no, on January 1st, 2024, you don't need to sign a contract or a power purchase agreement with Pioneer. If you're on the net energy metering tariff, you just move over to Pioneer through the enrollment process. One difference between us and PG&E is that we do reconcile monthly versus annually. So what this means is that at the end of 12 months, you're not stuck with a huge bill at the end, because we've been reconciling it each month. We do have annual payouts. So just this past year, 5,600 NEM customers received $1.2 million in payouts from Pioneer. So it's a well-received program. And then we're indifferent. So for all of you considering a solar system, if you're not on one already, it does matter if you're on NEM 1, 2, or 3. But from our perspective, it doesn't. So we're going to pay you the half-cent premium or pay you the discount either way, no matter what NEM program you're on. Next slide, please. And then another common question would be, can I stay on PG&E's programs? So keep in mind that you're a customer of Pioneer. You're also a customer of PG&E. And if you're on the CARE program, the FARA program, medical baseline, or some other energy efficiency program with PG&E, do you get booted off those programs because you came over to Pioneer? And the answer is no, absolutely not. So there's no impact at all. In fact, when we're designing our own energy efficiency programs through our advisory committee, we want to make programs different than PG&E because you could already be on those with PG&E. How about if you join Pioneer, you have an outage, is your house put last in the queue to put on because you're a Pioneer customer? And again, absolutely not. This CCA program has been around since 2010. If there was a claim with some substance to this that people are not being served because you joined the CCA, I would have seen it several times already through the CPUC complaints. And there's not been one complaint that's been filed that a customer hasn't been served because they were part of a CCA. So next slide, please. And then next step. So I mentioned that we have this is the start of our outreach to all of you. And we're going to have in-person meetings. Actually, if anybody has ideas of events that we should be reaching out to, in fact, we went to Grass Valley last week and got invited to the mobile home park over there. Any of you have an organization? Yeah, please.
Rotary Club.
Please, Rotary is great, so I appreciate that, if we could get on that. We like to work directly with your local leaders, Gary, and we will make information is available and easy to understand. So you're going to get a complicated mailer in November that's CPUC written, but you'll get a much simpler to understand mailer through us as well. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you had a question. And next slide, please. So anything you want to know more about, again, we have the website, have our email, give us a call. We're in Rockland if you want to visit us, and we can follow us on social media. We're excited to be here to launch this and to have you all as our customers in about 6 months. So with that, open any questions.
Make a couple comments.
Please.
Sure. Yeah, Gary Peters, the city council person. So we considered this very carefully as a council before we moved forward. I've got a long history of public works and infrastructure utilities. Was very active in the formation of the Central Coast community, aggregate power. So I knew a lot about it when I came. There's several things that I think that really matter. One is if you care about the green power and understand that we need to get more renewable and more sustainable, by buying green power, you encourage the market to grow. It's like when we started dealing with recycled paper. Until they made us start buying recycled paper, it wasn't viable economically. But the more green power we buy, the more we can buy. I think that in my house, that matters a lot. The other piece of it is the reason why the savings are there and the reason why the reinvestment is there in other programs is because there are no stakeholders. There are no dividends paid out to stakeholders. And in fact, I believe this is accurate, is that Pioneer Energy is a nonprofit organization. So it's not designed for, it's designed to deliver services and not profit. So I think another piece that I know Grass Valley cares about this a lot, but you don't have to do this. Yes, it is designed so that it's automatic because it would never work for a CCA. It would never be implemented if they had to go person to person to person and get them to sign off. But that's why the legislation was designed so that everybody came on board, and then if you don't want it, you decide you don't want it. If you want to pay your 6% more to PG&E, feel free. It's up to you. If you want to give your money to the stakeholders, go for it. I'll stay out of PG&E. I don't do well with that. So it's a good program. The options are there. It keeps the programs that people care about a lot, the low income stuff, the stuff that really matters. But we have the oversight. This is what I really like about it. I sit on the board with representatives of the counties. Every city has a representative on it. And I'm moving on to hopefully, we imagine, to the budget committee. There's a lot of money that moves through here. It's almost all energy bought, energy sold. But it's a well-run organization. So it's a really good idea for all of us. And the main thing it does is gives us options. So I think that's why it's really mattered. That's why we as a council, agreed to do it.
You discussed it pretty.
Oh yeah, we came and we asked a lot of hard questions. The entire council went through it, deliberated carefully. We had a unanimous vote. We haven't had great success with PG&E in our community in a number of areas. So anything that offered an option for us was great.
So there's a question.
Yeah.
During a PSPS instigated by PG&E, allegedly for our safety, Pioneer will go offline too, right? Because,
Right, we don't own those line, right, we don't own, it's their decision. So what we try to do is work with the CPUC to put some oversight on that program, and we've had some success on it, but ultimately the decision to do that falls with PG&E.
that costs us quite a bit of money in the last 3 or 4 years,
We're not alone.
and a lot of heartache, and not heartache.
Absolutely.
Grief and
Yeah,
PG&E.
yeah,
PG&E for some reason.
Well, there's a difference between investing in infrastructure and investing in stakeholders.
Exactly,
That's kind of what I.
yeah. They need to keep their infrastructure.
Yep.
yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about where your renewable energy sources are?
Yeah, so we have a variety of, includes all the major ones. We've got geothermal, hydro. So for instance, when we went into El Dorado County, first things we did was a long-term power purchase agreement with the El Dorado Irrigation District. We also work with, do quite a bit of buying through Placer County Water Agency. And right now we're in negotiations with Nevada Irrigation District with the anticipation that we're going to be here next year, and we're looking at a deal there as well. So hydro is a big part of it. Obviously solar is big. And we just signed a solar plus storage contract. So these are solar paired with batteries to help with with the peak hours. And so that's in the portfolio, geothermal. And one thing that we're really excited about is early next year, we're hoping to break ground on a biomass plant in Placer County at the Waste Management Landfill Authority.
Biowaste.
Yeah, bio-waste, yeah. And in this case, no, so this one's going to be, we're going to burn the wood waste over there. And it's exciting in that we're going to have a new plant. It wouldn't happen without Pioneer. You get, the county gets tax revenues out of it, we get jobs. We're getting the stuff out of the landfill and put into energy. And the heat is being captured and is going to be moved over to serve a commercial center nearby, so they're not buying natural gas. So we're really excited about some biomass opportunities. I know this area is very much interested in that as well. So it's a variety of technology. We don't depend on just one, but hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, go ahead.
Well, you said that this is happening because of Pioneer, you've been active in supporting it, you're not saying that you are opening it.
So what we've done is, we're the ones that put together, we have the interest, our board, including Gary, they want biomass. So we have the interest to look out for these opportunities. And then what we do is we put the project developer together with the bank on financing, so it's not coming out of taxpayer funds or anything, or ratepayers. And then we sign a power purchase agreement with that project. Otherwise, they can't get financed. And so that's how we feel we put the parties together, and we're going to end up being the off-taker. And just something to bring up as I answer that question is, we are ratepayer funded only, so the general fund for Nevada City is completely safe, because that's the point of joining a joint powers agreement, is that is completely off the table. And we're in charge of our own revenues, expenses, and so on. But the Nevada City General Fund is not at risk.
You mentioned geothermal.
Yeah.
Up the geysers.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have a contract with the geysers.
Are there any other geothermal plants PG&E is tapping into that you can utilize? Is that their own-
So the geysers is the only one right now. Those are really, it really comes down to available capacity. They're very popular. They're base load. It's a great resource to have. And we're just looking for some more to become available shortly to be able to do more in that area. But a lot of it's been bought up. Yeah.
I worked at many PG&E plants, all over down the state, and geysers are very cool. I worked there for
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that one of our interests in the city looking forward to is biomass, because one way or the other, we've got to start looking at our forests. However we get there, Forest Service isn't exactly being helpful in all of this these days, because they're not committing to the generation of biomass, even though they're going to generate a ton of it eventually. But how we deal with forest thinning and what we do with that product is what will drive biomass. Right now, Lincoln has got the big biomass, and they're maxed out.
Yep.
We can't sit on wood chips over there because they're full.
Aren't they trying to open one down there off of Dog Bar? They've got, with Nevada, excuse me, I don't know if it's county, the county's trying to buy some property out there, past on Dog Bar.
That was, that thing died yesterday.
Yeah, that's a
I
big
don't know
over.
where, it was popular about 4 years ago, that was being pushed, and then I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, they're expensive. I mean,
Excellent idea.
It is.
Why burn it? Just-
We have to get to those places. I think we really do. And that's one of the things that really matters to us, and what we're looking at is the future of biomass and what that means for all of us in terms of forest safety and fire management.
They were looking at two sites. One was the old lumber mill off of Bennett and, what is that, 174? Where the line is, and the other was off Dog Bar.
Right.
Two sites. They're two excellent sites. So,
Sir.
I mean, there was a lumber mill there one time. That's noisy, dirty, and traffic.
Many years,
Yeah, so.
Then they built homes all over.
Yeah. But, started in El Dorado County,
No, Placer County.
Placer?
Yep.
And was that a voter-approved initiative?
So, yeah, how it works is a joint powers agreement, meaning that you get 2 or more organizations to get together, and through a vote, through resolution of each of those councils, they partake then in the joint powers agreement.
And that was countywide, correct?
That was countywide, with the exception of Liberty Utilities territory, but yes. And
What's the percentage approval?
for the vote, I don't recall. That was back in 2017, and then we launched service in 18.
Remember, it was just overwhelming, huge.
Yeah.
If you got elected by that vote, you wouldn't have any competition.
Right. And then 2022, we expanded to El Dorado County and Placerville. And we are in discussions with Nevada County as well. So we're looking to be at the Nevada County Board of Supervisors meeting on August 8th to pitch this. But they couldn't join till 2025, so you guys are ahead of the game.
I'm sorry,
Go on.
Thank you.
Now, what is the percentage of the citizenry that will move over? Let's say, you're establishing under the cows.
So, yes, typically, how the process will work is that everyone will be through the aggregation, and this is the aggregation acronym of the CCA. Everyone moves over as Pioneer customers, and then you choose if you want to opt out. And that's through legislation many years ago. That's not a Pioneer decision.
I mean, what is the average, 50, 60% of the people that go with you guys?
Oh, no, we're at 85%. Rockland, Placer, we're at 90%. So it's been a very popular program. Yeah. And the gentleman there in the back also had a question.
After hearing about your involvement with the biomass plant, I'm wondering if you have any other plans for any major solar installations, because there's such an opportunity.
There is, especially in areas where we got the land. So yeah, I think there definitely is. It's one of those where as we put out, let's say, an RFO or a request for offer on power supply, I want to target more on those local projects and get them built, but they may not be as economical as maybe some of the larger developers, but who are not located in the territory. And that becomes a discussion that we have with our board to put preference over a local project that might be a few cents per kilowatt hour higher than another competitor that's not in the territory. So that's definitely, and as we are approaching our cash reserves target, we've got $2 million now in budget for programs. Those are the types of discussions that we want to have. So that's definitely on the radar.
Because my understanding of biomass is that there's some upfront energy issues involved, just like all the diesel trucks hauling all the material through the
And the regulation of emissions as well.
Yeah.
The regulation of emissions as well, as we were to.
Yeah, that's where the biggest issue with the biomass is going to be on the transportation side of it. So it becomes location, location, location. So like where we have on the Waste Management Authority, that's on site. The product's there. We're not spending all that money on transportation. And that's going to be the real key in site. Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, one of the problems we have in this county is the free wood waste drop-off is available at the same time as burn permits are allowed. And when burn permits are no longer allowed, there's no free wood waste drop-off. A lot of people would like to do fuel management on their own property and have no way to get rid of the excess slash that they create on not being able to burn and not having a drop-off. Would your biomass plants accept private drop-offs of slash?
I don't see why not. Obviously, there's going to be some regulations to figure that out. But if the product is there, it's economical to get it to the plant, why wouldn't we? So I don't have an example for you right now, but certainly if it makes economic sense, we would do it. I'm sorry, Jeannie.
That's okay. It looks like there are a couple questions
in the Zoom line.
Oh,
So,
sure.
Steve, would you mind reading those?
Okay. The first question was, you stated that you reconcile monthly for solar systems. What if we would like to use our credits in future months instead of being paid the few cents on the dollar for our generation? And I answered that one online as well, but.
Okay, if you want to read that answer,
Okay, so the answer to that is the credits that are generated on a monthly basis are rolled over to the next month, except for during the annual payout, which happens once a year during the March-April billing cycle. Throughout the year, credits are maintained on the account.
that's the right answer.
And then the next question, which I was typing in now, they said we have a number of standalone services with solar, and we also have a large NEMA that has approximately 50 services. Would we have to dissolve our NEMA account to participate? And so the answer is no, but as an aggregated account, it's ineligible for net surplus compensation.
Thank you, Steve, for those questions and answers. Any NEM customers here? You are? Okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I have some basic questions, and you can tell me that I can read them about it, just about how, if the answers are on your website. I haven't done any, I haven't done any.
No, that's fine.
But I'm just trying to understand how your aggregate structure is formed and how it operates. And do I understand when you call it an aggregate structure, it's basically we're getting a better rate because it's a larger, an aggregate of a larger number of people, like just as maybe a big industry would get some kind of rate. Is that?
That's spot on.
Understand?
And so one is, it's also fair. We're not going and targeting just high margin customers. We take everyone. And two is by buying in aggregate or bulk, if you will, you're going to get a better price.
And then, so that's one part of it, but I'm just trying to understand how you purchase. It sounds like you have a lot of choice of where, the sources that you purchase from. Are you purchasing from PG&E or are you purchasing directly from those sources?
We're purchasing directly from those sources. And we do have a lot of leeway on location, because if you think about it, we're purchasing those electrons and they go on the California Independent System Operator, or CAISO system. And the electrons right now that are putting that light on, I don't know where those are coming from. CAISO makes the decision on that. So, but it gives us then the leeway to, we don't have to purchase in a spot that's uneconomical because of its location. It gives us an opportunity to purchase from various places in the state. And so that's, it gets into, if you think about it, another example would be you take $500 and you put it in the bank, and then 2 weeks later you go to the ATM and you take out $500, but it may not be that $500 that you put in. And that's kind of how this works. It's going to, we put the electrons on the system. It may not be, may be using the electrons that we bought, but we get it on the system and then ISO figures it out from there. Hopefully I answered your question. It's complicated. We could spend more time on that one. Yeah.
They're multi-state sources.
Yes. So there's projects right now across the border in Nevada that we could tap into. Most of our procurement is in the state. And we do want to do locally if possible. If it makes sense, we want to do it. But, I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
So this one says, will you have to comply with AB 205 if it passes, or is it just IOUs?
No, we would be under the same jurisdiction of the AB 205.
Can you tell us what it
It's the, this is related to the, compliance on the procurement of the, it has to do with the 1383, like bio-waste project, and I'll get you a better answer on that one. Yeah, it just came out. Yes, sir.
Is this just within the city limits of Nevada City and Grass Valley?
That's correct.
Why?
They will be at the Board of Supervisors on August 8th to take up the conversation with the Board of Supervisors on August 8th.
Yes, sir.
Please be there.
I'll write my soup tonight. Tell
Yeah,
them, listen.
we're half a mile outside of city
Yeah,
limits.
just outside Grass Valley.
So,
Yeah.
so we wouldn't be involved unless the supervisor picked it
Well,
up.
we'll write them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start
please do.
camping.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was countywide. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of the confusions when we're sending out the mailers on this. You're going to you got the notification to come here about this, and not knowing that it's not applicable yet, but we're coming.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize there's just these two particular cities
I
right now.
picked up on that through the slideshow, so.
Okay.
Where do they start?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned, I just heard you say you got the notification that this meeting was happening. I only happened, I'm here in the city, and I only found out about it because I'm on the city's website where I monitor planning commission meetings, all the events they list. And I happened yesterday, they announced this. I'm not sure my neighbors even knew this was happening. I didn't get
It's in the
any
paper.
mailer.
It wasn't a union, but.
It's in the,
And subscriber, but that's easy.
Yes,
You know, not everybody reads.
No, no.
Yeah.
Right.
I think good reasons.
For the
Can't
future,
even-
maybe there should be a mailer that there's a town hall meeting or some radio announcements. We have a couple of radio stations here.
So right now, we can do the radio, the newspaper. Around end of August is when PG&E will actually give us the addresses of everyone in the city, and then we can do mailers. So that's why we didn't do one now.
Because I was kind of surprised at
Yeah.
the small attendance.
That could be why, yeah.
Why?
So make sure you have the right address with PG&E, and then we'll make sure.
They're after me every month.
Okay.
Now, when PG&E sends out a rate increase from the PUC,
Yeah.
in the technical language of moving lava, are you guys going to send out something in plain English?
Well, so if,
Or you have to conform to technical, legal wordage? Does that sound pretty good? That sounds
that was clear. So when we're doing a rates case on the generation side of the bill, which is what we control, we have a rates discussion with our board, and Gary would be part of that discussion. And the board decides what those rates are going to be, and we send them out to the public in language you can understand. Yeah. What you're also talking about is the general rates case that PG&E will do that goes through the CPUC, and it's hundreds of pages of testimony and such. We don't have that obligation.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
I trained myself over the last 40 years to just look at the PUC and think, oh, it's going up again or going down again, and throw it away.
Going down.
For you.
Has it ever been?
when are the supervisors to
August.
consider this?
August 8th.
Okay.
Do you know if that's morning or afternoon?
I don't have what place we are on the agenda yet, but I'm hoping it's morning.
You mentioned with solar, NIM or NEM or?
NEM, Net Energy Metering, NEM.
Okay, then there's 2 levels.
I'm sorry?
There's a third one now.
Is there 3 levels of that?
Yeah, so there was NEM 1.0, 2.0, and then just past this year was, it's 3.0, it's a different,
It's even less, right?
yes.
Nothing.
They did nothing.
Right, every version is less lucrative than the previous one. So if you're thinking about it, don't wait for NEM 4.0.
I missed 2, but I procrastinated and missed 2.
We slid right in on two, thank God.
Yes.
Still, it's,
Yeah, we got buddies making,
Not as good as one.
net one, and
Yeah.
they got some money coming in.
Yeah, but that's, they're starting to run out of time on that one.
Yeah, they do, quite a while.
They all have sunset clauses.
They do. It's like 20 years.
Yeah.
I might not be around, so it doesn't matter.
I'm glad on it.
Well, I've got
Don't worry about it.
everything I wanted to know, I've heard.
Okay, please write your supervisor.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
we'll be there, and we'll push them for that. You know, being out of city limits, it's country bumpkins, we don't get nothing, man.
I know, I hear it all the time.
We're the redheaded, freckled.
Yeah, what about broadband, damn it, Gary? I'd like to have broadband.
Broadband, big time, yeah.
We gotta get broadband.
Yeah.
The redhead freckled kid, no.
Yeah, we get.
I've always lived in the county, it seems, my whole life, so we've always been called the redheaded stepchild. I just added freckles, so.
You're done. We have another one
That's
here.
why I moved into town.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Please meet you.
See you on the 8th.
So this one, it says, will you be able to provide citywide kilowatt usage yearly to help meet the city's energy action plan goals up to 2030?
Yeah, so we had a question, Gary, you might be interested in this one, where the city's goals for sustainability. And I think if the city would want to choose to be on Green 100, I think that would solve a lot of your sustainability goals that you're looking for.
So, that come online?
It did, I'm sorry, I just got it.
I would also mention that we're partnering, I mean, that the legwork that you have done to get us the credits we needed
Yep.
to be sustainable.
I get reminded once in a while.
Thanks a lot, guys. All right.
Thank you, Gina.
All right, see you, redhead freckled.
All right, Gary, thanks. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.